Wilhelm II was the last German emperor and king of Prussia. A grandson of Queen Victoria, Wilhelm came to the throne in 1888. Dispensing with the services of his father's great minister, Prince Otto von Bismarck, in 1890, Wilhelm began to build up the German armed forces, particularly the navy, until it posed a threat to British supremacy. In 1914, he had backed up the Habsburg dynasty in Austria-Hungary during the crisis of that summer that led to the outbreak of World War I. For much of the war, he was relegated to a figurehead as his generals, led by Paul von Hindenburg and Erich Ludendorff, took over the running of the war, also ignoring the advice of the civilian government in Berlin. As the war went badly for Germany, the Kaiser progressively lost the support of the army. By October 1918, with the vast resources of the United States arrayed against Germany in support of war-weary Britain and France, and the failure of the last great German offensive in the West, mutiny and revolution broke out on the home front. Wilhelm had been demonized by the Allied propaganda as a warmongering tyrant, and many in Germany blamed him for the terrible defeats suffered by the nation in 4 years of conflict. Abdication was suggested. Wilhelm couldn't make up his mind, but toyed with the idea of renouncing the German imperial throne but remaining as king of just Prussia. This was dismissed as the two crowns were in legal union, and abdication would mean renouncing both titles. A new chancellor was appointed, Prince Max of Baden, who announced that Wilhelm had abdicated without asking the emperor's permission. Prince Max then resigned, and the government was turned over to Friedrich Ebert and a civilian administration in Berlin. Wilhelm only consented to abdication when the army informed him that it would march back from the front in good order under von Hindenburg's command, but would not fight to keep Wilhelm on the throne of Germany. Wilhelm was now an ex-emperor and ex-king. He was at the army headquarters in Spa, Belgium, when the crisis unfolded. He now feared for his life, for some in the Allied camp wished him to be tried and perhaps executed. In the very early hours of the 10th of November 1918, the day before peace was declared, Wilhelm and his staff and aides boarded the imperial train at Spa station and started to roll west. But at Liège the train was stopped. There was a fear that mutinous German soldiers might attack the train if it proceeded further. The imperial train was abandoned, and Wilhelm's party climbed into a small fleet of cars. The train then continued empty towards the Netherlands. Wilhelm's convoy of cars crossed the frontier into the neutral Netherlands at Eisden at 6 a.m. on the 10th of November. The imperial train then arrived, and Wilhelm's party reboarded to await a decision on whether they would be granted asylum by the Dutch government. The Dutch deliberated for 12 hours, until on the evening of the 10th of November, asylum was finally granted. The Kaiser and his staff were installed at Amerongen Castle. He spent 2 years at the castle, hoping that the situation in Germany would stabilize, and he could return as emperor, but the Weimar Republic in Germany remained just that, a republic. Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands refused to hand Wilhelm over to the victorious Allies for trial. In 1920, a more permanent settlement was made when he moved into Huis Doorn, a large country house near Utrecht, purchasing it with his own money. The Empress Augusta Victoria joined him in exile but died in 1921. Wilhelm himself remarried the next year. During this time, the rest of Wilhelm's large family continued to live in Germany. In order to furnish Doorn, Wilhelm reached an agreement with the Weimar government and removed 27 railway cars of furniture from the new palace at Potsdam and Berlin, plus 27 cars full of art and other treasures, 1 wagon containing a motor car and 1 containing a boat. Life in exile consisted of learning Dutch, practicing archaeology on the island of Corfu, and hunting on his estate. He also personally chopped down thousands of trees at Doorn. It has been estimated that Wilhelm personally chopped down around 40,000 trees, earning the nickname locally of the woodchopper of Doorn. He did all this using only one hand, as his left arm had been paralyzed since birth. He also replanted trees. A lot of this wood was distributed free to local poor citizens. With the rise of the Nazis, Wilhelm hoped again for a restoration of the monarchy in Germany. He congratulated Hitler on his conquests, though in private harshly criticizing what Hitler was doing to Germany and the treatment of the Jews. Hitler loathed the old emperor, blaming him for losing World War I, and never entertained a restoration of the monarchy for 1 minute. Later, he issued a law forbidding Hohenzollern family princes from serving in the armed forces, removing 9 of Wilhelm's sons and grandsons from the services. When Hitler invaded the Netherlands in 1940, Winston Churchill offered Wilhelm asylum in Britain, which he refused. As he neared the end of his life, he issued orders that he was to be buried in Germany only if the monarchy was restored, and no Nazi imagery or symbols were to be used at his funeral. Ex-Emperor Wilhelm II died at dawn on the 4th of June 1941, aged 82. Hitler obeyed Wilhelm's first instruction, and the emperor was laid to rest on his Dutch estate. But Hitler ignored Wilhelm's second wish, and Nazi symbols appeared at the funeral. Today, his home at Doorn is a museum, and Germany remains a republic. I hope you found this film interesting. If you have, please do subscribe and share, and also support me on Patreon. Many thanks.